Welcome to the devotional series, A Psalm a Day Keeps Satan Away, the podcast edition, episode 71, subtitled Legacy, and I'm Pastor D. Watt. A couple of notes before we get started today. First, obviously, we have a different backdrop here, and we've had a little bit of a lengthy pause since our last devotional. We've got some house renovations going on here at the Walker compound, and that has caused my home studio to be out of order, so to speak. And so we've moved to this temporary location, at least for the next couple of weeks. The second thing is I wanted to give a shout out to our youngest psalmadayer, Audrey, who's 9 or 10 years old. She is the daughter of one of our faithful psalmadayers, and they listen to the podcast in the car on the way to school or the way back from school. And Audrey's been asking a lot of questions about God and spirituality and faith. And as her mother continues to lean into her faith, it's rubbing off on Audrey, and she's asking these questions. And I'm just so thankful and honored that the Psalm a Day Keeps Satan Away podcast can be a part of her journey as she explores those questions about God. So Audrey, keep up the good work. Keep leaning into your faith. You will not regret it. And that ties in today to our topic, which is Psalm 71, subtitled Legacy. It's a top 5 psalm for me. It's the lament of an old man who is looking back on a life of faithfulness to the one who has been his rock and his fortress since birth. Listen to what he says in verses 5 and 6. And I'm going to excerpt. Psalm 71 is a fairly long psalm, so just some excerpts here today. So here we go from verse 5 of Psalm 71. For you have been my hope, O sovereign Lord, my confidence since my youth. From birth I have relied on you. You brought me forth from my mother's womb. I will ever praise you. Now this confession and this trust in God is repeated in verse 17. Listen to verse 17. Since my youth, O God, you have taught me, and to this day I declare your marvelous deeds. This psalmist verbalizes the feeling in my spirit. I look back on a life that I've lived in relationship with God, and I fall on my knees each and every day, praising the one who has never forsaken me, nor put me to shame, despite some hard and uncomfortable times, and despite my own ineptitude and sinfulness. I join the psalmist as he praises God and declares this, and this is from verses 8 and 15 and 23 and 24. My mouth is filled with your praise, declaring your splendor all day long. And then verse 15, my mouth will tell of your righteousness, of your salvation all day long, though I know not its measure. And verse 23, my lips will shout for joy when I sing praise to you, I whom you have redeemed. And verse 24, my tongue will tell of you, your righteousness, your righteous acts all day long. And then the psalmist praised the words that hit home to me from verse 18. Even when I am old and gray, do not forsake me, O God, until I declare your power to the next generation, your might to all who are to come. As I get older and grayer, this prayer is on my lips more and more. I think back to the people in my life who declared God to me through word and their deeds, even as they got older. I think of my grandmother, Evelyn Snyder, a staunch and sometimes gruff German Lutheran, who shepherded me through my early years as a youth and continued to serve her church and to serve God well into her 80s. I think of my great-grandfather, William Walker, another gruff German, who was called to preach in his late 30s, and he answered that call, becoming a minister, a Methodist minister, an itinerant preacher, preaching in the hills of Western Maryland and West Virginia, preaching 3 times every Sunday, going to those churches via horseback. Though I didn't know him well, his life journey served as an inspiration to me as I felt the call to ordain ministry in my late 40s. What do you want your legacy to be? What do you want to pass on to the next generation? If you have children, what do you want them to remember you for? Is it the pile of money that you leave behind and a bunch of things? Or is it a spirituality that lasts for generations? My one desire is that my children and my students who sat at my feet have heard God declared by me and through my lifestyle, and that they would have embraced the loving kindness and hope that only He, Yeshua, can bring. May you embrace your legacy today. Godspeed and shalom. Pastor D-Walk signing out.